Wash your daddy, punch your daddy, who's your daddy? This episode of Gen V has more daddy issues than Homelander. In this video, we'll be taking a deep dive into the episode and brand new theories about the mysterious burned man, his plan with Sister Sage, Annabeth's resurrection, and what all this hype is over Tony Cicero's.
I was ordering pizza from Tony Cicero's!
For those of you who don't know, I write, edit, and produce these videos all by myself, so any like, subscribe, or comment helps me get into that sweet, sweet algorithm. The episode begins 1 month before the events of episode 204, more than likely before the start of sophomore year as Cipher begins his tenure as dean. Notice we don't get any clues on where Cipher came from. His past is shrouded in mystery. All we really know is that sometime between him delivering Marie Moreau and becoming dean, he spent time at the Vought office in Mexico City, which just might mean he'll tie into the spin-off The Boys Mexico, which is currently in development. But what about this mysterious person he takes care of billed in the credits as Grotesque Man? The prevailing theory out there is this is actually Thomas Godolkin, and the use of a different actor is all to misdirect us from the truth. Godolkin appearing in a show that literally takes place at a university named after him makes sense, and the fact Godolkin was last seen in a lab fire and this man is completely burned make it a pretty clear assumption. Then again, the show really loves to subvert our expectations. Last episode, Cipher referred to this man as his father, but even this we can't take as true. In my Cipher theory video, I explain how Cipher's age really doesn't line up with Godolkin's accident. That is, if the man is Godolkin, Cipher would have to be 10 years older. So either Cipher isn't his son, he doesn't age, similar to Stormfront, or something as crazy as this burned man's sperm was taken to artificially inseminate someone after the accident. I mean, it's implied Cipher was in charge of artificially inseminating women as part of Project Odessa, so it's not too crazy. Notice the use of yellow daylilies. These flowers symbolize hope, rejuvenation, and you'll like this, the love between a parent and child. In episode 7 of The Boys Present Diabolical, yellow flowers are also used as a metaphor for familial love. Pair this with Mozart's 21st Violin Sonata playing in the background, and things get even weirder. This was Mozart's only violin sonata written in a minor key, giving it that mournful, uneasy feeling. It was written at the same time his mother was dying. I think the burnt man is Thomas Godolkin and that he is dying. This might be why Sister Sage calls his choice in music, quote, the most cliché. If Godolkin dies, then his work can no longer continue, which is why Sister Sage tells Cipher that they don't have much time left. The fridge is stocked with healthy Vought Fresh Farm products from apple juice, shakes, yogurt, and microgreens. This not only appears to be what the burned man eats, but also Cipher, as in episode 1 we saw him eat an absolutely disgusting shake made with chicken, and he'll even have a shake delivered to him from his assistant Nagin. Fun fact, Nagin is actually a real-life producer's assistant on Gen V. We have yet to see Cipher eat anything other than these shakes, which ties into one of the biggest theories to come out of episode 204, that Cipher is merely a puppet controlled by the burned man. If I'm controlling Cipher so that he can take care of me, there's no need for complex meals. Just a simple shake that gives my meat puppet all the essential nutrients it needs. By controlling Cipher, if this is indeed Thomas Godolkin, it allows him to continue his work and create what Cipher will later call our salvation. There are 2 new clues which also hint at Cipher being a puppet. When Sister Sage appears at Elmira, Cipher says,
Madam Vought CEO, to what do we owe the pleasure?
What do we owe the pleasure? Not what do I owe the pleasure. Then there's what Jordan says to him about how she felt when she was controlled. She could feel that he was in pain. Earlier in the episode, we'll see that Cipher takes a knife to the hand and feels nothing. If he's controlled by someone else, that person could turn off his pain receptors. This means that Cipher might still be human. Last episode, Marie checked Cipher's blood and found no compound V in it. concluding that he had to be human, yet Cipher was still able to control Jordan. If, however, it wasn't Cipher controlling Jordan, rather Thomas Godolkin through Cipher, it leaves the possibility that Cipher's still human. We'll see that he doesn't have superhuman healing, as his wound is still bandaged when we see him later at Elmira. Greeting Cipher is the world's smartest person, Sister Sage. The last time we saw her, she was brought back into Homelander's good graces after she successfully brought down President Robert Singer and established Homelander as the de facto president of the United States. Remember that several months have passed since the end of The Boys Season 4, and we'll later learn that Sister Sage has been named Vought CEO, alluding that something very bad happened to former CEO Ashley Barrett. The last we saw her was the Season 4 Boys finale when she injected herself with Compound V and collapsed on the floor, so it appears as though she's been caught. Sage representing Stroh's Brewery Company, which got its start in Germany before moving to Detroit, where she's from. Combine that with Mozart's Austrian music and her gift of a law gnome, which coincidentally enough originated in 19th century Germany, and this just further hints at the burned man being Thomas Godolkin, whose connections to Nazi Germany is well documented. Now, if the burned man and Cipher are in fact father and son, that makes Sage's hookup with him all the more messed up. I also think it's not Cipher she's wanting, it's Godolkin. Notice as they hook up, she tilts Cipher's head back and covers his face, then turns towards the burned man. She probably knows that Cipher is just a vessel, and the true power lies within Godolkin. The other thing we as the viewer have to keep in mind is that for every scene with Cipher and the burned man, we can never truly tell who he might be puppeteering. Take, for example, Cipher's first scene with Cate in episode 201. This scene takes on a whole new meaning when you know what Cipher's power is.
Let's never forget who controls who.
By taking control of Cate, he can use her own power against her, meaning he can read her mind. This might be how he knows about the hidden camera during the fight. It would also make sense that Godolkin as Cipher would want to team up with Sister Sage. Imagine if he could harness the power of being the smartest person on the planet. We'll talk in a bit just exactly what their end goal is, but something else I want to put into your mind. Do you think he can control multiple people at a time? Fast forward to present day, right after the fight which saw Marie Moreau levitate Jordan using their own blood. Jordan describes the experience like being in the back seat of a car. She could see and feel everything, but unable to do anything about it. If, in fact, Godolkin is controlling Cipher, this is absolutely insane. It means he'll have felt that stab to the hand, and that he was by Sister Sage. And that's just the stuff we've seen. He's been controlling him for God knows how long. I can imagine a world in which Cipher breaks free of Godolkin's control and immediately tries to kill himself to escape from this endless torture. Speaking of Cipher, he is ecstatic that his plan paid off. He wanted to put Marie under extreme pressure to unlock the next level of her power. Unfortunately for Marie, there is still further for her to go. She will continue to work with him to harness her full potential, or risk being sent back to Elmira. Elmira is also where Cate is taken as punishment for her failed recording fiasco. Her intake at Elmira is extremely dehumanizing, being forced to strip. This is another way the writers are trying to get us back on Cate's side. At the end of season 1, she backstabbed all her friends and coordinated the massacre at Godolkin. It's gonna take a while for her to redeem herself from that. While she does attempt using her power to escape, it still doesn't work as intended. These collars act as tasers should any of the inmates become unruly. The C story this episode involves Sam returning home. This is his first time home in many years, as he was first sent to Sage Grove, then the underground testing lab at Godolkin, and finally he became a guardian of Godolkin. He was told by Vought his parents didn't want to see him, so he hasn't necessarily been in a rush to drop on by. In the fridge we'll see Big Game Vought soda and what appears to be a Tony Cicero's pizza box. The front of the fridge also has a picture of Sam and his brother Luke, aka Season 1's Golden Boy, as well as a Toronto postcard where the show is filmed. Back at Godolkin, Marie makes the argument they should save Cate. Cate put her ass out on the line for them, they should do the same for her. Emma thinks this is a suicide mission, but Marie asks if they could live with themselves if they found out she died and they did nothing about it. I really wouldn't ask Emma this, considering a few episodes ago she was legitimately considering finishing the job on Cate. Nevertheless, the gang decides on a jailbreak using Jordan's own car they got last episode for being ranked number 1. So who knows if this thing is bugged or can be tracked by Cipher and Vought. Emma here interrupts Sam's nutritious breakfast of the Deep's Choctopus Puffs while watching Avenue V. She wants Sam's help in breaking out Cate, but he's basically like,
"Screw you guys, I'm going home."
I also want to call attention to this line here from Marie where she describes Cipher attacking her.
When he was attacking me, I felt like I could have destroyed the whole arena.
This is a major setup. It implies that Marie will be able to manipulate the blood of many people at a time. And if you stick around to my trailer sleuthing section, at the end I got some cool stuff to show you. Now if it isn't Mr. Stud Muffin himself, Greg. This guy is a walking red flag, and I can't help but think he's working with Cipher. I mean, Emma tells them they're going on a suicide mission to Elmira, and he's like,
"You son of a bitch, I'm in."
She also tells them that Polarity is on their side, when in the very next scene, Cipher somehow knows Polarity's ulterior motives for joining the Godolkin staff, although he says that's because he's heard of him snooping around the Godolkin archives. Greg is the brother of Allie, and last episode we learned Allie and Greg's parents are insanely rich and paid for the school's library. There's just a lot more we need to learn about these two, and I keep being reminded of the words of an old writing teacher of mine who used to say, if you want to know who the secret villain in a movie or TV show is, look first at those who are most helpful. Cipher confronts Polarity about his real intentions at Godolkin, which center around getting to the bottom of what happened to his son Andre. And Cipher is pretty ballsy here, telling Polarity Andre died as the result of an experiment he conducted, conveniently leaving out that it was likely he himself who took over Andre's body and pushed it over the limit. Notice the amount of fidgeting here, from clearing his throat and rubbing his earlobe. It reminded me of those little mannerisms he did while taking over Jordan's body. Perhaps this is a tell that he's using someone else's powers. What we don't know coming out of this scene is if he truly took over Polarity. I mean, he does urge him to stab him with a knife, but could he even if he wanted? Imagine your Polarity, and you know that this man can take control of you and use your own power to develop more micro tears in your brain. This seems to be Polarity's fate. Later in the episode, he'll experience another one of his seizures. I think he'll survive this, but now knows he's powerless against Cipher. If he even tries to use his power, it could mean his death, but I think this show just introduced a way to heal him, which I'll get to in a bit. Before this seizure, we'll get a glimpse of Polarity's phone. It's filled with normal soups you'd expect to have on there, but also a bunch of names from the Gen V crew, like Casey Hudecki, the intimacy coordinator, and Nicole Rizzo, one of the associate producers. Cipher gives little new information about what he's been studying all these years, simply explaining that he's been observing soups and their wasted potential. He seems to have a lot of disdain for soups who don't excel. I wonder if his time in Mexico was all about experimentation. Mexico may have made it easier for Vought to get away with human experiments. Back at the Reardons, Sam reconnects with his father. Vought convinced his parents that he had died, and when they saw him on the news, he was told that Sam didn't want to see them. Unbeknownst to him, his mother's on the phone with who we can only presume is Vought. Later in the episode, we'll learn the real reason they let Sam go. Violent hallucinations and delusions run in the family, and with Sam having powers, this made him a danger to himself and others. It wasn't the V that made him crazy, it was his DNA. Now Sam is fully defeated.
It's true. Nothing's ever gonna fix me.
He could learn to fix himself like his mother says.
No one can fix you. No one can change anything but you.
Or there might be another solution with Marie Moreau. Imagine her power could change his DNA. Wherever his storyline is going this season, it looks as though he'll have to learn to come to terms with his power, which also means lessening his dependence on Cate. Now, you don't have to be Cipher to predict that the gang's escape attempt was absolutely a trap. As Cipher will tell Sister Sage, their confinement will allow him greater freedom in pushing the limits of their abilities. Sage tells Cipher that she's brought him a present, something that will, quote, speed up the process. This gift is Marie's sister, Annabeth, and boy does it level up her power. Sage and Cipher talk about how Marie's experimentation will give them everything they want. They have a shared goal, and I think this goal is harnessing Marie's power to such a level it can both heal and manipulate DNA. This would allow Cipher to heal Godolkin, perhaps even reversing one's age, and Sister Sage to get rid of her powers. We saw in Season 4 how she yearned to be normal, even going so far as to self-lobotomize herself. The two of them might also want to take down Homelander, but the more I think about it, the more these deeply personal reasons seem more likely than the former. Upon their arrival, Marie is the only soup, to our knowledge, who is given a shot of heparin. Heparin is a blood thinner which may make it more difficult for her to use her powers. Cipher makes it very clear that as long as Marie does what he says with no pushback, they can all get out of here. But Marie doesn't want to be his weapon. Cipher says she has it all wrong. She's not a weapon, but their salvation, stating that all their lives will be better once she's ascended to her full potential. So maybe Marie might be a cure for anyone's ailment, or a way to remove one's powers without killing them. Now, Jordan here has a very interesting conversation with Cipher, stating that Cipher felt the pain she was going through when she was being levitated by Marie. This could explain why he lost control of her near the end of the match as Jordan's veins began to bubble. This feeling of pain could hold the key to his downfall. Before Cipher reveals her sister, she's shown the location of Andre's death, the giant steel door which he tried to pry open.
Don't ever think you're not an inspiration to people, Marie.
He's implying that Andre's death is on her hands. It's all a manipulation tactic in an effort to level up her power. After years apart, Marie is finally reunited with Annabeth. Annabeth doesn't know what's going on or why she's here. Notice how she's in plain clothes with no collar, which suggests she's likely a human and not a threat to the guards. The sight of her confined sister enrages Marie, proving she's not ready to play by the rules. And if she's going to comply to his rules, Cipher must think outside the box. The crew's escape attempt is all part of Cipher's plan. The lack of guards make it easy for Marie to get to her sister, who they find dead. Or at least that's what's implied when Jordan checks her pulse and says he's sorry, and Emma claims that she's passed. It's important to make this distinction because Marie isn't just healing someone, she's bringing them back from the dead. But there is cause for concern here. Look at the effect this has had on the others. Blood streams down their noses and they're in intense pain. Is there a cost to this power? We also need to ask ourselves, is it actually Marie doing this, or is Cipher controlling her? We already know that Cipher was likely controlling Andre to push his powers to the limits. Could he be doing the same here? However, in this case, Marie passed the test. Annabeth's resurrection was foreshadowed by Cipher, as a resurrection is a literal miracle in the biblical sense.
Miracles. Miracles beyond your imagination.
The episode ends with the guards on their way, but if you want to find out what happens next, I think I have a good idea as we head into the trailer sleuthing section. The crew eventually breaks out of Elmira. Here we see the Elmira van crashing from the gates. I think next episode they'll be on the run as we see this image of Marie in some sort of rundown bathroom. It's attached to what appears to be an abandoned children's hospital or daycare. I think they're teaming up with Annabeth in search of clues of their origin. They will, however, be attacked by Vicor, as we'll see his giant hammer. Whether it's Vicor or someone else, something compels them to come back to campus, as we'll see them here and here being levitated by Marie. This confirms her powers, at least of levitation, can extend to others. But is this her levitating them, or Cipher through her? Here's Greg in Hero Optimization class, but who is that he's planning to attack? I actually think it's Polarity, as later on we'll see this shot of Sam throwing him into a pillar with Greg wearing the same outfit in the background. Here's Cipher in that same class with a selection of weapons. Notice his hand is still bandaged, so we're not too far off in terms of the timeline. We have two shots of Polarity storming in somewhere. The first one is Dean Cipher's office with Cate, and the second one into Hero Optimization class. Knowing that the use of his powers could kill himself, this is a pretty big move, but keep in mind he could also be controlled here. This looks to be Marie holding onto Polarity's hand in the burned man's room. We'll see all the lights flickering. It's possible Marie's trying to heal Polarity here. Perhaps the most cryptic Polarity clip is this one here, crawling from a car with Black Noir right behind him. Hopefully we'll get a better sense of where all these Polarity clips line up as the episodes progress. Now this coordinated song and dance number makes me think they're all being controlled by Cipher, but in a show that has musical hallucinations and talking puppet massacres, who knows? Now I love this shot of Marie holding her hands up like a marionette on Sam. We can see the veins in his face bulging. The fact her face is devoid of any pain or emotion makes me think she's being controlled by Cipher. But now I turn it over to you. What do you think? I want to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe, and for more bad takes you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember...
We'll just have to tune in next week to find out, won't we?